Marlins Park, roof shut, windows closed, AC blowing, as the Marlins and the Mets continue a three-game series. And the Mets, in a big way last night, beat the Fish. Jacob deGrom working on his short game right now. Christian Yelich stretching. He had a nice night last night. Everybody wearing a Met uniform seemingly had a big night, as it was a blowout win. Jonathan NIESE and Brad Hand, lefties on the menu tonight. Hi, everybody. Rich WALTZ along with Tommy Hutton. Welcome to an Email and Twitter Tuesday. Welcome to the National League East, in which the Mets are on a real roll. They look like a team, a one-game lead in the East, on a mission.
Yeah, they really do, Rich. You know what? If you get blown out in the NFL, you have to wait for a week. You get blown out in baseball, hey, you come back the next night.
The Mets have reinforced the troops. Now, they've got momentum. They just swept the Nationals. They blew out the Marlins last night. But ever since they started to deal and added some pieces, things have turned around for them.
Well, first they added Clippard. Then it was Uribe and Kelly Johnson. We saw Johnson last night. Uribe is going to play tonight. They have done well, 7-2. Then they also added Yoenis Cespedes, who had a big night last night. So Kelly Johnson gives that left-handed bat multiple positions. And, of course, Juan Uribe, he's at third base tonight. He gives them a veteran who has seen a lot of postseason action. He's been a part of a couple of world championships, one with the White Sox, one with the Giants.
The question is, how do you slow down this Mets express? Now, the Marlins are using Brad Hand, jumping into the rotation. It's a challenge. He's been in the bullpen, hasn't thrown a lot of innings over the last 2 months, but he'll have some help behind him.
Yeah, the Marlins are going to go lefty tonight against the New York Mets. It'll be Brad Hand. He'll be followed by Adam Conley. But 3 starts this year, really hard to judge how he's worked as a starter because they were a while ago. The last couple of months, Brad's worked solely out of the bullpen.
I'll see you and raise you another lefty. How about Jonathan NIESE?
Well, it's a guy the Marlins have seen a lot. 17 career starts against the Fish. A lot of cutters. Lately, he's been throwing pretty well, but not getting a lot of support. But then again, that was before the Mets got the extra offense.
Jerry Seinfeld's new favorite player, not Festivus, Cespedes. Man, was he good last night. 3 doubles. The Cuban outfielder is in there tonight. We'll talk about him and his impact when we return. Craig and Jeff.
All right, thank you very much, Rich. Back here, yes, with Jeff Conan as we get set. And it's been a crazy few days for the New York Mets with their rosters added on and almost subtracted. But, whoa, hang on, it's maybe not so soon. But that Wilmer Flores story is going to be in the annals now of Mets history forever after what happened Thursday when he thought he was traded and fans came in standing on and he was crying on the field, Jeff.
Yeah, Carlos Gomez was reported to go to the Mets for Wilmer Flores, going to the Milwaukee Brewers. And what does he do? The very next evening, walk-off home run against the then first-place Nationals.
You think they didn't love him on Thursday? How about on Friday? And then they wind up getting Cespedes, not Carlos Gomez. That also was reported. They might get him. Cespedes comes in, and here in Miami, the Cuban-born player is on fire with a big night last night.
Yeah, 3 doubles, ties the Mets record, 4 RBIs, pretty much put the team on his back last night. Hit into every part of this ballpark. Hit the wall twice, very high on the wall. Could have had a couple homers, but kept him in the park for 3 doubles.
He's not a big guy in terms of height. He's 5'10", but in the lineup, he's a difference maker. He has 51 extra base hits, 3rd in Major League Baseball. What does he mean for the entire lineup?
Well, this team has really been struggling to score runs. Last in the National League in average right now, and about middle of the pack for home runs. So for them to come in here and give them a boost of power, extra base hits especially, could be a big boost for this offense.
1-year rental, but you certainly have to think if he has a good year here, the remainder, the Mets would try to pursue him potentially in the offseason. They may have to if he has a big last couple of months and maybe playoff as well in New York. Brad Hand will take the hill. He has not started since early June against Toronto, but he has had flashes of brilliance in his young career. Marlins are looking for a little of that magic tonight against the Mets.
And the 25-year-old Chaska, Minnesota native. Guy who made his Major League debut back in 2011. He'll get the Mets, the red-hot Mets, who won 7 of 9, all alone in first place in the National League East. Curtis Granderson, Yoenis Cespedes, and Juan Uribe. And there's a strike. Pitch Benny brings you that first pitch. Granderson busy last night. Had 3 hits, drove in a run. Also walked. Mets had 15 hits to go with their 12 runs. And Hand misses down low. What to expect tonight, Tommy Hutton?
You know, it's tough because Brad Hand has been working out of the bullpen. He has to have control. He'll throw that fastball 93 to 95. And breaking balls and changeups. He's had 12 games, 4 starts in his career against the Mets. And here's where the tough part comes. An ERA during that time of 3.94, not too bad. But he's 0-4 in his career against these Mets.
2-1 pitch. And a good one. It's really cool right now around the plate. You see the sunlight that is coming through a window. It only happens every now and then if there's direct sunlight on the back of the building. It's not as glaring as, say, Milwaukee. Got a little peak, little sunlight just checking in on the game. Granderson takes in.
I think, Rich, how Brad has to approach this, he has to approach this as an outing out of the bullpen and just go after hitters, not look at the big picture and see how long he can go.
Little tapper, and it's a foul ball. Boy, that was close. JT Realmuto tried to capture it. From the corners, the back corners of the plate, they line up with the baselines. If it's inside of that, it's a fair ball. It landed in front of the plate and checked up. And by the time Realmuto, woo, that's close.
Little backspin. It had some backspin on it.
Realmuto shaking off his pitcher. 3-2. That one pulled foul. Why don't we quickly meet the Mets and greet the Mets? And Curtis Granderson leading off for the Mets. Yoenis Cespedes in the 2 spot. Big night last night. Juan Uribe, the veterans, at third. Lucas Duda in the cleanup spot. Travis d'Arnaud, Wilmer Flores, Ruben Tejada at short. Jonathan NIESE is in the 8th spot. And Juan Lagares in center, hitting 9th. And Brad Hand strikes out Curtis Granderson.
Good live fastball. Freezes a guy who's done a nice job at the top of the order for the Mets this year. Good pitch.
Now Cespedes, who had 3 doubles last night. 2 of them would have been out of a lot of ballparks. One hit the top of the wall in right center. The other banged off the scoreboard in left center. Both of those left the bat quite rapidly. And Cespedes, his double total coming over from Detroit, adding his short time here in New York, has got him sitting at 31. Jason Kipnis of the Indians has 31. Those 2 guys, Cespedes and Kipnis, tied for the most in Major League Baseball.
Tell you what, Jason Kipnis having a heck of a year for Terry Francona and the Indians at 326, along with those doubles.
Two one coming. That one foul back to the screen.
You notice tonight Cespedes moves up to the number 2 spot, mainly because, well, Uribe's in the lineup, but with the pitcher hitting 8th, you have Lagares in the 9th spot, so you have Lagares, Granderson, Cespedes. That's kind of like a 1-2-3. About a third of the time this year, Terry Collins has hit his pitcher 8th.
Pitch is up. Cespedes quickly becoming quite popular in New York. His contract, remember, he signed as a Cuban player, has a clause in it that the Mets must release him after the World Series. There are some Met fans who have started a GoFundMe page to help re-sign him. And that page probably will get a few donations after another hit to right center field.
Yeah, a couple of more followers after that base hit. Check on the defense for the Marlins in this one tonight. Brought to you by BMW. Derek Dietrich gets the start, and he's starting to get more comfortable in left field. Yelich and Cole Gillespie in the outfield. PRADO, Echeverria. Danny Echeverria, 40 consecutive games now without an error. Dee Gordon and Casey McGee on the right side. JT Realmuto behind the plate.
Now Uribe. Uribe, as Tommy has pointed out, has had really an interesting career.
It really has.
With a lot of ebbs and flows. Flowing early was that World Championship for Ozzie Guillen's White Sox. He was the starting shortstop with the Giants. He had that terrific postseason in 2010. Then signed a nice, I want to say it was a 3-year contract, and had some awful years off that deal. Here's a 1-0. Pitch is up and out.
At one time, an everyday shortstop, then a third baseman, now a terrific role player. Juan Uribe, now 36 years old.
Terry Collins has got weapons now, and this is the first time he's been able to say that as a skipper of the Mets. Options. Uribe up the middle. That's into center field. The base hit. Cespedes around second, holds there. Good job by Yelich to get to the ball quickly. Back-to-back hits for the Mets. And that brings up big bad Lucas Duda.
Hard hit up the middle out of the reach of D. Gordon. Good turn by Cespedes at second base. He went around the back hard, and that's why Yelich came in and made Cespedes put the brakes on. Everybody joined the party last night for the Mets except Lucas Duda.
And that was so odd because Duda coming off and just an incredible week where he hit 7 home runs, co-player of the week in the National League. He had 9 homers over the course of 8 games. And what does he do last night? In 6 plate appearances, he walks twice and strikes out 4 times.
You and I talked about this in New York early in the season. It had been a real struggle for Duda against lefties. Entering the season, he was hitting .212. But this year, he's been right around .300 against left-handed pitching. That's one of the areas he's really improved.
25 doubles to go with the 21 homers. Been slugging up around .500. Big USC product, his 6th year in the big leagues. Fly ball left field. Dietrich out there again tonight towards the line. Reaches up and makes the catch. You know, it's not pretty out there with Derek Dietrich right now. You can sense he's still learning the position. He hasn't made a catastrophic mistake yet.
No, and all you want to do, and you tell him as an outfielder, you catch the ball, then you become an infielder and you get it back into the cutoff man as quickly as you can. Don't worry about throwing runners out. Just get it back in as quickly as you can to the cutoff man.
Remember having the same conversation with Chris Coughlin when he went out there to left field to find a place to play and get regular at bats. And Coughlin's been in left field for the Cubs most of the year. Travis d'Arnaud. And d'Arnaud takes a breaking ball up. It's 1-0. d'Arnaud, and we noted last night, young catcher, one of the top prospects. Not only with the Phillies, but also in the Blue Jays system. And a guy that was involved in trades for 2 Cy Young Award winners. From the Phils to the Blue Jays in the Roy Halladay deal, and to the Mets in the R.A. Dickey deal. And when healthy, he's been a nice player. He's been on the DL a couple times this year. d'Arnaud, a swing and a miss. He had 2 doubles last night.
Yeah, for Brad Hand, you go back to May 27th. He started a game in Pittsburgh, went 5 innings. June 12th or June 2nd, he started against the Cubs, went 6 innings, and then had a really rough outing in Toronto. So 3 starts in a row, and that's been it.
Fastball in. Normally, for a starter, you track pitch count, and I think with hand, it's quite important tonight. And I think if the Marlins got 60 to 75 pitches out of Brad, they'd be quite happy. He's at 25 right now with this pitch, which speaks to your point about approaching this as a relief outing. Come in and just get outs and don't worry about trying to get deep into the game.
Get outs and see how many shutout innings you can go.
Well, full count here. It's going to start the runners. Cespedes from second, Uribe from first. Darno tags it foul. Got Wilmer Flores on deck. This ballgame just underway. Mets and Marlins, second of 3. Last night, Bartolo Colon was just too much, and the Mets offense had a field day. 12-1 Mets win.
Well, that pitch count getting up there because Brad Hand's already had 3 3-ball counts.
And he misses, and the bags are loaded. And here comes Wilmer Flores.
The talk of the town right now in Queens, for sure.
It certainly is an energized fan base right now. The Nationals have scuffled, and the Mets have taken advantage. Hand misses away to Flores. Craig Minervini and Jeff Conine right before the ballgame talked about the great moment for Flores after such an emotional roller coaster. The trade that never happens. Ball and a strike. 2 grand slams. You know, one of those is at Miami's expense.
Well, he had a 2-homer game against the Marlins. He's hit 5 in his career against Miami.
Two and one. Bouncer to short. Echeverria on to first in time to get the outs. Brad Hand escapes. Mets leave him loaded. Marlins get their first swings next. by Vico Painting Contractors. For top quality work and excellent customer satisfaction, visit vicopainting.com. And by AutoNation, save on over 70,000 vehicles now. Visit us online at AutoNation.com. Marlins Park tonight, D. Gordon in the box. Jonathan NIESE on the mound. 28-year-old lefty out of Lima, Ohio. ERA at 3.63. It's under 3 in his last 9 starts. Overshadowed by all the big names in this rotation. NIESE has suddenly got it together.
He's been the victim of a lack of support. You see that ERA 3.63 and a 5-9 record. Now he doesn't have the stuff that Syndergaard has, but he slings it, he changes speeds, cuts it a lot. And for NIESE, his last 10 starts, he has an ERA under 3, but he's 2-4.
He jams Gordon. It was thrown out by less than a step. Wilmer Flores playing second. That brings up Cole Gillespie. Gordon in the leadoff spot. JM Lexus brings you the starting lineup. Gillespie's out in right. Christian Yelich in center field. Casey McGee's at first. Martin Prado hitting fifth, playing third. Derek Dietrich in left again. About a week's worth of left field for Dietz. JT Realmuto is the catcher. Danny Echeverria, the shortstop. Brad Hand will hit ninth. Here now is Gillespie.
The other thing about NIESE, he doesn't waste too much time.
Well, maybe he needs a nickname, right? I mean, you saw Syndergaard, that's Thor. Harvey is the Dark Knight. I think they're still working on a nickname for DeGrom. DeGrom has some of the best hair in baseball. Would you agree?
I would totally agree with that.
And I love his story. Former college shortstop.
Out of Stetson.
Out of Stetson. NIESE. Athletic move by John NIESE. Gillespie is out. Here's the Mets defense tonight.
And again, brought to you by BMW. Cespedes moves over to left field. Juan Lagares starts in center. Curtis Granderson, the right fielder. Juan Uribe, Ruben Tejada, Wilmer Flores, and Lucas Duda around the infield. Travis d'Arnaud behind the plate.
Christian Yelich. Three hits last night, couple doubles for Yelich, 13 on the season now. A ball and a strike.
A couple of Gold Glove outfielders in the game tonight. Christian Yelich, Juan Lagares. I talked briefly on Marlins Live about Christian Yelich and how difficult it is to do what he's been able to do. Swing the bat, bring the average up on a ball club, especially with Giancarlo out of the lineup, without a lot of support, not a lot of help. A ball club that's struggling to score runs, and he's been able to hang in there and have some good at-bats.
I said it earlier, he's the last man standing of the good young outfield right now. Marcell Ozuna still hitting the ball quite well in AAA. Stanton trying to get back from the hand injury. We focus so much on finding protection for Stanton. Suddenly it's Yelich who kind of stands alone in this lineup.
Just one stint earlier in the year on the disabled list with back issues.
NIESE thought he had a strikeout. Yelich didn't offer. John Hirschbeck is the home plate umpire. And let's see who was right. Yelich has a good eye. And it was out. Good call. 2-2. That one is out as well. It's 3-2. I know they're experimenting. Oh, excuse me. It's Angel Hernandez back there. Good call by Angel Hernandez. John Hirschbeck last night. The 3-2. I know Eric Burns was front and center for that test of the robot umpire, where they essentially used the Fox track technology to call balls and strikes at a minor league game. If that doesn't work, they could just hire Christian Yelich, because he's pretty darn close to the Fox track. Swing and a miss. NIESE. Lefty on lefty changeup. And a good one there. That strikes out Yelich.
Twitter Tuesday. Tonight, it is all about the hashtag rivals. What is the best rivalry in all of sports? How about Major League Baseball? Who would you consider the Marlins' biggest rival? Maybe there are even some good rivalries between players. We want to know what you think. Be sure to send those tweets to @FoxMarlins. You can also email us at foxmarlins@gmail.com. And remember to use that hashtag rivals. Guys?
Thank you, Jessica. Wow, Cliff Floyd and Pudge, probably the leading bobblers in the bobblehead museum tonight.
Be nice to have those guys back to back in a lineup.
Ruben Tejada, John NIESE, Juan Legatas for the Mets. Emails and tweets. We haven't forgotten about you. We're going to dive in this inning. Traditionally, we do it on Tuesdays. We read as many as we can. Swing and a miss by Tejada. You got anything that you want to start with? I got a really good one.
Yeah, I do. I have a good tweet from @JJ Fernley. Has a question about Christian Yelich. Wants to know, do you think Yelich will pull the ball in the air a little bit more as his career develops, looking to increase his home run totals? And that's something you and I have talked about. Absolutely. I do look for that. Look for him someday to be a 15 home run guy.
Oh, 2 check swing is fouled off. By the way, as we went through the Met starters and we're talking nicknames, I was remiss in not adding to Terry Collins' rotation.
You just swung and missed at one of the Degrominator's pitches.
Thank you. The Degrominator. Although Thor and the Dark Knight, those are pretty good. Degrominator I don't remember as being in the League of Nations or superheroes or whatever that Hall of Justice was. That one fouled back to the screen. And it stays 0-2. Ruben Tejada, a pesky at bat.
But he will be back.
Terry Collins has NIESE in the 8th spot, with Lagares hitting 9th tonight. We have an email from Central Missouri from Gina. I live in Central Missouri, watch every game on the MLB app. Was lucky enough to get to Marlins Park, watch the fish. Even saw you guys at the juice stand getting a smoothie. How about that? That one fouled back to the screen. Every year I say I'll be back for the postseason, but I'm beginning to lose hope. What hope can you give me, Rich and Tommy, that I'll be back for the postseason in 2016 isn't just an empty promise I will make to myself? I need some positivity right now. Thanks, from Gina.
All right. We'll give Gina a good core group of players. And that's what you build off of. You build off an ace in Jose Fernandez. Like to have that. You build off a solid outfield. Gold Glover, Yelich. Hopefully Marcell Ozuna turns things around, and when Giancarlo comes off the DL. How many clubs have that kind of offense? How about a potential Gold Glove shortstop in Adeiny Echeverria, and a tremendous leadoff man who can steal a lot of bases and play great second base in D. Gordon? So those are the things you look at to try to build off of.
Taking that a step further during this long Tejada at bat, 10th pitch coming. Those pieces notwithstanding, how do you build off of it? What else do they need? Hand off the mound, has it, flips to first. I mean, those are great pieces.
Yeah.
But the Marlins have had those pieces this year, and it's gone sour.
You have to get help for Jose. You've got to get, I think, another viable major leaguer behind him. You were hoping it would be a Cozart this year, but Jarek Cozart has been on the disabled list, dealing with vertigo. You need to get that. You can't just rely on Jose every 5th day. You have to tweak your bullpen. I think as you look around baseball and you see contending teams, what do you see? You see bullpens that are really solid. And that's what everybody was looking at the July 31st deadline. A lot of teams were looking to just supply that bullpen with another arm. You look for a solution at first base. So there's a start.
Justin Bour has had a short span of some really nice moments, and you hope that in the next 2 months he'll be given the opportunity to continue to try to impress. I think the way the Marlins offense is set up too, it's an offense that is not great at getting on base, and it's not great at hitting the ball out of the ballpark. I think one of those two things has to change. Liner to left, Jonathan NIESE with a base hit. So anyways, Gina, hope we did okay on that. If you send a tweet tonight's game, Fox Marlins, include the hashtag #TuneInMarlins and hashtag sponsored, and you'll be entered for a chance to win autographed team gear and more. Stay tuned for the Marlins live postgame show to find out what color socks Jeff Conine is wearing and if you are tonight's lucky winner.
Tim with a good tweet about rivals. As we talk about so many different rivals, baseball, football, rivals against the Marlins. Tim said, don't forget about Army, Navy.
The people that I know that have worked that football game tell me it's a very special event. Lagar's to right, hits it well. Gillespie towards the corner, reaches up and makes the catch. 2 outs here in the second. Brad Hand wobbled in the first. He left him loaded here in the second. He's got 2 out with a man at first, and leadoff man Curtis Granderson coming up.
I like some of these rivals. Dylan said, how about Frazier Ali? This guy started to come on for the Mets, Curtis Granderson.
Yeah, a market improvement for Granderson from last year. Hit just .227 last year, slugged just .388. Had 3 hits last night, slugging in the mid-400s.
Yeah, that was his 6th 3-hit game of the season.
His on base is right around 350. Cespedes on deck. High pop up back behind the plate, and it is out of play. Stan and Stan in Asheville. Do you fellas think it's more hurtful for a pitcher to throw 35 to 40 pitches in an inning, or a large number throughout the whole game?
That's a question that has so many intangibles. You don't know if they're stressful pitches. You know, a guy could throw 7 innings, and every inning could be a stressful inning. So it's can't really answer that one.
Outside corner. Angel Hernandez rings up Curtis Granderson. Brad Hand is through 2. Marlins and Mets are scoreless as night falls on South Florida.
Toyota.
What are you gonna say?
In Miami tonight, Marlins and Mets. Casey McGee, Martin Prado, and Derek Dietrich. John NIESE misses away. McGee getting the start against the lefty. Casey got the start last night. and was 1 for 2. That was against Bartolo Colon, who certainly looked like the Bartolo Colon of April, didn't he? 8 innings, a run.
Well, the Mets were pleased, I guarantee that, to see Bartolo Colon of last night.
Tejada in the hole. Throws out McGee. Tomorrow night ends the series. 7:10 start. Every kid 12 and under with a ticket will get a coupon for a free Cam Beef Frank, bag of Frito-Lay chips, and a small Pepsi or Aquafina water. Get your tickets for Kids Eat Free Wednesday at marlins.com. NIESE has retired all 4, 3 ground ball outs and a strikeout. Here's PRADO with Dietrich behind him. By the way, Stan and Stan had a PS to their note. You never checked about players leaving their gloves on the field, as you promised.
As to what year that stopped?
I think so. I don't remember the question. But we'll work on it. That's why we have a crack staff. John Chimchuk's our baseball historian, who had a strong night last night. That's strike 3 called. NIESE cut that one. PRADO and Angel Hernandez discuss on the black and at the letters.
Just barely. How about the scouting report on the 28-year-old left-hander? We have used this often. Cutters and sinkers. Big breaking curve. Hey, good hitter. What did you do last time up? Had a base hit.
Now Dietrich. Derek Dietrich's hit a bit of a bump in the road. The highlight of his homestand was that 9th inning homer against Craig Kimbrell. A rare blown save for one of the very best in the game. But not much else noise off the bat of Derek Dietrich.
And against left-handers, not a lot of options for Dan Jennings as far as right-handed bats. He has Gillespie in there. So your choices, you've got Dietrich, who's been playing the outfield, Yelich, a left-handed hitter, Ichiro, a left-handed hitter. So not a lot of right-handed choices to get in the outfield.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
Pretty good move, Rich, I thought, by the Mets back in 2012. They locked NIESE into a 5-year deal. I mean, he hasn't been spectacular, but he's been a solid pitcher. Gives the Mets a left-hander contract through 2016. There are probably some Met fans that don't agree with that, but he's been a solid guy.
Dietrich gets hit. A lot of times it kind of clips him on the elbow. This one came a little further in. Not sure where it got him. Let's take a look.
Yeah, it's just right off the hip. Right off the hip.
Miami has its first base runner. Here's Real Muto. Well, the reason you have a Jonathan NIESE on your staff is you need some guys to soak up starts and innings.
You can't have all guys who throw 98 miles an hour either.
With superhero nicknames. Uribe goes to Flores. Marlins done. Scoreless game. would like to remind you, you can tweet your strongest fan photo, hashtag FLDataStrongFan, and you might see yourself in the upcoming telecast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. A lot of Met fans. He needs a longer arm.
Yeah, dig in.
All that reach. Very nice.
See what that looks like about the 8th inning. How far that's gone down.
Cespedes, Uribe, and Duda for the Mets in the 3rd. Emails and tweets tonight. A lot of Marcell Ozuna emails. Want to know how he's doing and when he'll be called up.
Had a base hit, 1 for 4 at a triple, I think, last night. RBI. Hitting right around 310, 311. I'm hoping we see Marcell Ozuna in Atlanta. If not there, at least when the club comes home for that 2-game series against the Red Sox.
Cespedes singled back in the 1st. 4 hits already in the series. And a strike. Brian wants to know, when is the big man coming back? That's in question right now. Giancarlo Stanton swinging, trying to rehab from the broken hamate bone. No timetable has been set for his return.
It's a tough call. He's been hitting balls off the tee in the batting cage, but that's about it. And I was reading today, unlike most normal hitters, with the strength that Giancarlo has and the bat speed he creates, it makes it a little tougher, a little harder to come back faster than maybe a normal hitter.
Prado with a nifty stop and a throw across to get Cespedes. First out, 3rd inning. Jim is one of our biggest fans, always participates in emails and tweets, has a long list of questions. I'm going to run right through them. You give me your best shot.
All right. Is this rapid fire?
Rapid fire. Does Dan Jennings return as manager in 2016?
My guess would be no.
Okay. Will Jose pitch next Wednesday's game against the Red Sox, giving him another home start before the Marlins hit the road?
He's on schedule to, because he's going to pitch Friday in Atlanta, so that would be his 5th day. I would hope so. Because remember, he did not face the Red Sox in Boston.
Uribe to center. Yelich. Got it! Christian Yelich. Good first step. Great angle. Tremendous closing speed. That's a Gold Glover in center field. Juan Uribe, in disbelief, thought he hit it out of here.
Doesn't matter where you put the Gold Glove, whether it's left or center. Christian Yelich has it. Great jump, great concentration, and pulls it down. And you're absolutely right. Of course, Uribe played in San Francisco, too, for a few years.
That ball's out of San Francisco.
Maybe in that area, yeah, because it's not right enough center.
Right. Here's Duda. You know, the other thing Yelich has, he's got the long arms, and he's really good at extending them at just the last minute. All right, back to Jim's list.
What do you got? Rapid fire.
Rich, it's the Justice League of America. Get it right. There's a few of these I can't read.
Because I'd probably answer them.
No, he goes off. He goes way off topic.
Oh, okay.
How did Lemon the dog get her nickname? Does she have a sister named Lime? There's a little humor there. I like that. Some baseball questions, a little humor. Lemon the dog, if you missed it, was Jessica's dog who growled viciously at Craig this weekend when he tried to interview both Jessica and Lemon. 2-1. Jess, how did Lemon get her nickname?
Well, if you didn't notice, she's got a little bit of a sour attitude, so I figured
she did toward Craig. We know that.
Sour attitude. What does it make me think of? A little lemon. So wow. It seems to fit.
Lucas Duda bangs that one by Casey McGee. Gillespie retrieves it in the corner and holds Duda, who's swinging a hot bat coming into this series, to just a single.
Yeah, that's a do-or-die play by Casey McGee. That ball was hit so hard by Duda. All right, 2 out. Everybody in the infield knows.
Travis d'Arnaud walk back in the first. We were talking rivalries here. Jake wants to throw in Gabby Sanchez, Nyjer Morgan.
That's a good one. For our producer, David suggests a rivalry: Real Madrid, Barcelona. Or is it Real Madrid? That would probably be proper.
Tommy, as long as you know the chant and maybe put the kit on, you'd fit right in. Pitch is in. No swing, and it's 2-2. d'Arnaud, a walk in the first. If you're just joining us, Brad Hand gets the start. For Hand, not a lot of work in the last couple months. You go back to June 8th, in 11 games, he's thrown 11 2/3 innings. And his longest outing in that span was 28 pitches.
And look at that, he's closing in on 70. Now, for the most part, coming up in the minor leagues, Brad Hand was a starter. 135 games, 132 starts in the minor leagues.
And he was stretched out in some bullpen sessions. Brad's tried hard every other day to get a throw session in. 3-2 coming. It's a little breaking ball fouled at the plate. Ozzy wants to know, why aren't we allowed to watch Marlins batting practice? The Marlins are one of the few teams in baseball that allow season ticket holders, and even if you have a partial plan, to come in to watch Marlins BP. You can come in at 4:30. Most Major League ballparks open their gates an hour and a half before first pitch. That's when the Marlins open their gates. Bouncer, McGee's got this one, and he steps on the bag in time to get the outs. Scoreless ball game. So far, so good for Brad Hand. Minervini. Craig?
Yeah, Rich, the prize is an autographed bat with Adeiny Echeverria's signature on it and an autographed baseball. Now you ask, what do you have to do for that? Well, Zach here was selected once a month, one of the season ticket holders is picked, to dance for 7 innings by Marlin Vision, and if he could do that, and by the way, they're watching very closely, security man Jordan, right here. Look at this. We've got video all over. They're watching him upstairs and around Marlins Park. There's a monitor here. So this is high-level security. TSA might be involved. And Zach, you got to do it for how many innings?
7 innings straight.
Now, are you jogging in place? What are you doing?
You just gotta keep it a pace and relax.
This critic over here claims that he's not dancing very well.
That's true. That's true. That he just doing this.
People dance.
No Spanish people do that anymore.
That's how they dance, he's saying. All right, he's got to move for 7 innings. Can you do it? You get 1 bathroom break.
Yeah, I think I can do it.
He can do it.
People are rooting against. We're rooting for you. Are you a big Adeiny Echeverria fan?
Yeah, big fan. He's my favorite shortstop in the MLB.
Good to hear. All right, Zach, we'll follow and make sure you get this.
Craig, does he have any music out there?
No music either.
See, that you got to have some music.
Alana, your sister here, should have brought the boombox or something.
I know. I have to dance in my imagination.
Hey, these guys, they're great fans. We've seen them. We had Alana on, right, last week. And their season ticket holders once a month. They do this, and good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think it's dancing.
Yeah, it's dancing.
And I think I think it's doable,
awesome.
too.
Absolutely.
I mean, you think 7 innings, what, a little over 2 hours? That's less than a marathon, right?
Yeah, look at the security. Show them. I mean, the monitor here, Jay, if you can. I mean, they're watching this closely. He cannot stop, or it's over. Is that right, Jordan? If he stops once, it's done. Way to go.
All right, let's turn our attention to the ball game. And right now, Travis d'Arnaud, the Mets catcher, taking a foul tip. Terry Collins, who was a shortstop in the minor leagues as a player, out to check on his catcher. Angel Hernandez giving him as much time to feel better. Don't try this at home, kids.
You know what? It's the same spot that d'Arnaud took a foul tip last night as well. Brought us to talk about the couple of times he's been on the disabled list this year. He's gotten banged up a lot this season.
Echeverria fouls a pitch back. Echeverria battling right now. The count 2-2.
No dancing for Travis d'Arnaud for a couple of innings.
Brad Hand is on deck. D. Gordon due up 3rd in the inning. NIESE. (3-2) and it's a ball. You see NIESE frozen on the mound, staring in at Angel Hernandez. And Echeverria leadoff walk. Here comes Hand. Series concludes tomorrow on a Wednesday night. Chevron Crazy 8's in play. Just fill up a Chevron and bring your receipt for 8 gallons of gas or more to Marlins Park. $18 Lexus Legend, $28 home plate Lexus seats as well. NIESE picks it up, flips to first in time. Hand with the sacrifice. Echeverria in scoring position.
A terrific bump by Brad Hand to move the runner over, and it looks like Richie's going to go another inning. You had the chance, if DJ was going to make a move, to let Hand step in and get the sacrifice bunt down, but right now nobody warming in the bullpen, so it looks like Brad's going to go another inning.
D. Gordon takes in. One 1-0. Mets Marlins. Game 2 of 3. Gordon fouls it at the plate. Last night the Marlins saw Bartolo Colon enjoy somewhat of a renaissance after a rough patch. He went 8 innings, gave up a run, struck out 5. And the Mets banged out 15 hits and beat the Marlins 12-1. Gordon lines it into the seats. The Marlins trying to figure out how to get D. Gordon back to where he was in the first half. There's a look at Cologne. He's coming off the disabled list. Gordon is 4 for 22. His average has dipped to 329. We should all be so lucky to have our average dip to 329. A roller towards right and into right field. Echeverry around third, and he will score. And Miami has a 1-0 lead.
You know, the second baseman, Wilmer Flores, who was shading up the middle, not thinking D. Gordon would pull the ball. He extends, he dives, and the ball takes a little hop over his glove. So great job by D. Ups that average just a little bit with an RBI single.
Cole Gillespie now.
We get this question a lot. Smooth thinking Miami. And it's always a good one to debate and talk about. All-time Marlins race. Who wins? Luis Castillo, D. Gordon, Chuck Carr. They have Gilvio Veras. I mean, oh, there's Juan Pierre in there too. Gilvio Veras and Juan Pierre. It's a heck of a relay team.
Runner goes. Good jump. Ground ball. Base hit. Center field. Gordon on second, on his way to third. And he'll hold there.
Gotta love it. Little motion on the bases. Cole Gillespie finds the hole with the second baseman Flores moving over. Great job on both parts. Gets a good pitch too. A little bit out over the plate. See Flores moving over to cover. The hole opens up. D. Gordon picks up the base hit and gets to third. Whoa, get out of the way. Make sure the ball doesn't hit me.
Yeah, he didn't see it coming. He was reacting to the fielder. So at the corners, now Yelich. Infield's looking for a ground ball. NIESE gets a lot of ground balls. He throws a strike to Yelich.
Sometimes a previous at bat helps this at bat now. And Christian Yelich struck out, but he had a 9-pitch at bat against NIESE, so he saw just about everything.
There's the ground ball. One there, the turn there. In time to get the double play. NIESE got the ground ball. Miami will have to settle for a run. After 3 in Miami tonight, Marlins and Mets, it's 1-0 Miami.
In the top of the fourth. Well, it is an email and Twitter Tuesday, and tonight we've been talking about rivals and rivalries, but let's get specific to Major League Baseball. Take a look at a list of the top 5 rivalries in the MLB, according to an article on FoxSports.com. You may be surprised by what you see. Dodgers-Giants coming in at number 1, followed by Yankees-Red Sox at number 2. What do you think? Do you agree? Are there teams missing? Email us. FoxMarlins@gmail.com. You can also tweet us at FoxMarlins. And guys, I'm curious to see what you think. Do you think Red Sox Yankees should be at the top of the list?
I think it depends on what part of the country you live in. I think if you're out west, you would go with Dodgers Giants.
And that's and if you're in the Midwest, you're probably going to go with Yankees Red Sox, because unfortunately that's all that ESPN and Fox seemingly show on their national telecast, right? How many times do you see Giants and Dodgers on national television? McGee, a nice catch and a tag, and Wilmer Flores is out.
Boy, we've talked about the stretch that Adeiny Hechavarria has going, 40 consecutive games without an error. Came a little bit close there, but he got some help from Casey McGee. That's a career best, by the way. 40 consecutive games, no errors for Hechavarria.
And of all the positions to have a consecutive errorless streak, shortstop is the very toughest. You see in fielding percentage. Ruben Tejada and Brad Hand.
Would be great for Brad to come out here and what will probably be his last inning and just have a nice 1-2-3 inning. There is activity in the bullpen now.
Tejada bounced out back in the first. Adam Conley, as we expected, warming up, ready to go. 75 pitches for Hand. I think the Marlins have to be thrilled with what they've had out of Brad so far tonight. Look out.
Look out, Tim Tuffle. In '86, he might have made that play. Guys in the dugout will kid him. They'll kid Tuffle. They'll say, you got to charge that ball.
Tejada lines one into center field. That's a base hit. And that'll bring up the pitcher, Jonathan NIESE. Emails and tweets tonight. We've been able to dig in and get a few of them in. We have a special guest in the 6th inning with Craig Minervini. Marlins man will be visiting with Craig in the 6th. And he stopped by Tommy and brought gifts for us.
He brought gifts, and we thank him. Always good to see him.
No,
that's right, and it's not hard to see him.
No, I was amazed. I think I saw him at a day game here and then at a Sunday night ESPN game. Not sure how he pulled that off. NIESE fouls it at the plate. This is the trademark visor. And autographed for us, Tommy. Now the shirt's pretty cool too.
The shirt is really cool. That's the back. And then on the front.
Nice.
On the front, pay it forward.
And he will explain that to Craig Minervini.
You talked to Craig about that, yeah.
NIESE up there. Tejada's at first. And Hand goes over. Miami getting a run in the bottom of the 3rd. This has a very different feel than last night, which was a runaway by the Mets. Runner goes. NIESE is swinging, and he pulls it foul. And the count now 1-2.
Shows the confidence Terry Collins has in Jonathan NIESE as a hitter. Got a little hit and run going with his pitcher up there.
Now let's see what the Mets do here. PRADO is not convinced that NIESE won't be bunting. He's a good 15 feet on the grass at third.
By the way, we had that list. Andrews throwing in Emilio Bonifacio too in that group.
You know, to me, they're talking about the fastest Marlin in a race. It depends on how far the race is.
That's a good point. Yes, it does.
If it's first to second, I'll go Bonifacio.
I might go Luis Castillo.
Breaking ball, gorgeous pitch from Hand. And here comes Lagares. Well, look at the last pitch.
Boy, it just freezes NIESE. Perfect breaking ball. Locked him up.
Now, we talked about other fast Marlins in that race. If it's foul pole to foul pole, I would go off that list. I might go Devon White because of the long strides.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Christian Yelich. We had Chucky Carr's name. And Yelich might be a guy to take on a long strider in a 440 type situation.
Remember the little left-hander Marlins used to run marathons? Jesus Sanchez. Might have to go long distance with Sanchez.
Ball and a strike.
Yeah, it's like you know, every fan has those players they remember in speed. Growing up, for me, I'd take Maury Wills first to second, but I'd take Willie Davis first to home.
Chopper, and flips in time to get the out. 1-0. Miami leads, headed to the bottom of the fourth. Stick around for the sixth. Marlins man and Craig Minervini. Visit your South Florida Chevy dealers today. By Panera Bread. Stop by your local bakery cafe to enjoy your favorite Panera salads. By the all-new Ford F-150, the future of tough and by Checkers. Mix and match. The famous Big Buford, Big Chicken Deluxe. Get 2 for $5. Checkers, it's in the bag. Fastball, Casey McGee drills it to center. Lagares at the track makes the catch.
Well, Juan Lagares, last year's Gold Glove winner. He has some elbow issues, really hindered his throwing, but he can still go get them. And with the acquisition of Cespedes, it's going to cut down on his playing time. Plus, he's really struggled at the plate lately, Lagares.
Here's Martin Prado. Strikeout victim back in the second. Emails and tweets. It's like juggling cats. On a night like this, special guests.
Like the guy who used to twirl the plates.
Barnyard animals.
You know, just as we get all the plates spinning, then a couple of them stop spinning.
And to right. Prado with a base hit. 1 out single. UFC Fight Night. Glover Teixeira took the champ to the limit. Miami's own Ovince St. Preux took only seconds to destroy a legend. Saturday, they meet. UFC Fight Night coverage begins 10 Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1. It streams live on Fox Sports Go. Here's Dietrich now. Dietrich, you can see him asking for time. Pace of play allows for a hitter to put a foot out of the box to get the sign. NIESE works so quickly that Dietrich comes all the way out of the box as Lenny Harris is giving the signs. Now he's going to get settled. NIESE is already chomping at the bit to pitch. Two and one.
David had a tweet about you think aluminum bats will ever be used in the major leagues. Absolutely no. Guys are getting so strong, so big.
And actually, the bats that are used in college baseball now, there are some guys that will say they'd rather swing a really good wood bat because the bats in college have been legislated such to drop the exit speeds off the bat. That's why runs were down in college baseball. They actually played a little bit with the ball.
Boy, you didn't see those 17-15 College World Series games.
No, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Dietrich swings and misses. Marlins live pregame tomorrow 6:30. Carl Pavano on the telecast. He'll be behind home plate. The Dark Knight rises in Miami. All brought to you by your South Florida Honda dealers. Now Real Muto against NIESE. Miami got a run in the third. D. Gordon RBI single. We take all kinds of questions on email and Twitter Tuesday. Mo in Jacksonville. Other than first base, how come no left-handed infielders? Tommy, you being a left-handed first baseman.
Well, just think about it. Think about how your body would have to turn to make throws to first base. If you're at third base, it's just set up that way. If you're shortstop and a lot of balls in the hole, there's no way you can turn and make that throw. Same thing at second base, turning a double play.
You think Abner Doubleday originally had guys running to third, and then he realized there weren't enough lefties in the world to field and infield.
And he switched it around.
He switched it around. 1-2. Out to short. Tejada's flip in time. John NIESE sharp, but Miami a run better. Geico presents this Major League moment. Hashtag rivals. That's one of the things we've been talking about tonight. 46-year-old Nolan Ryan on this date gave, I don't want to say a noogie, but some really, not a purple nurple either.
I think it was a little more than a noogie to Robin Ventura.
Yeah, Ventura got out there and he kind of horse collared him and popped him on the top of the head a few times. I wonder if those two talk about that when they see each other. Ventura, of course, managing now. Nolan Ryan's been a baseball executive for some time.
I would think they've made up. Adam Conley comes in. Boy, with New Orleans this year, 9-3 record, a .252 earned run average. This will be his 4th appearance with the Marlins. There are the numbers in New Orleans. Nice strikeouts, the walks. Very good whip. Had a start in Cincinnati, his first major league start. We saw him make his major league debut in Toronto, and then went 5 innings, gave up 5 hits and a couple of runs to the Reds, and picked up a win on July 11th against Cincinnati.
Curtis Granderson now. And so the Marlins got exactly what they wanted out of Brad Hand. 4 shutout innings. Conley, the Washington State lefty,
with a good changeup, sweeping breaking ball to go along with his fastball.
Granderson, a pair of strikeouts. Pulls it hard and foul. So this is essentially a bullpen game for the Fish. They got 4 innings out of Brad Hand. Conley could probably go 4 if he's pitching well enough. He has been starting in AAA and having a really nice year.
I think the hope is to get 2 or 3 and then see how the lineup sets up for the Mets.
It'd be interesting to see how the bullpen sets up for the Marlins. if they're in that position late in the game, with Carter Capps having gone on the disabled list.
Everything was setting up so nicely for Dan Jennings before the Carter Capps injury, which we've been told isn't that serious, and hopefully he'll be throwing in a few days, and when the 2-week period is up, he'll be activated. So let's hope that is true for Carter Capps. But with him out, it just changes everything in that bullpen.
Conley strikes out Granderson, who has punched out 3 times tonight. Hand got him twice. Conley gets him to open the 5th.
Not a lot of left-handers. There's that lefty on lefty changeup. And just a terrific pitch to get Granderson.
There are guys around baseball that are big fans of that. Joe Madden is one. Cubs manager. Here is Cespedes, who singled in the 1st, bounced out in the 3rd. Why are pitchers, lefties on lefties, righties on righties, so reluctant to throw that pitch?
They're afraid to leave it on the inner part of the plate. If they make a mistake with it, it's hittable because they're so used to going away with sliders, with breaking balls. But if it's a good one and if it's down, it's just a pitch that the hitter doesn't see that often.
Now, you saw pitches in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, correct? And you've called pitches on television in the 90s and on up here until 2015. Are there more changeups that dive now than used to be just straight changeups? It seems like
yes,
like the power change that Henderson Alvarez throws or Felix Hernandez is 89-90 with sink.
Yeah, a lot of changeups you used to just refer to them if you saw them. It was just a straight changeup.
That's a good changeup right there. That one had some run to it.
Look at the grip. There's the circle. And it down and away.
40 years ago, that's a screwball.
That's called a screwball, yeah.
Because it has that opposite spin away from the hitter. McGee settles under it and makes a catch. Adam Conley. 2 outs here in the 5th. Juan Uribe. Tomorrow night, Marlins and Mets. David Phelps for the Fish. Matt Harvey for New York. Harvey's ERA under 3, a 9-7 record.
So many tweets, and you certainly can't argue the Yankees Red Sox rivalry, which heck, it goes back so far. It goes back to the time the Babe was traded from the Red Sox to the Yankees.
Who's the Marlins' biggest rival? Is it the Mets? Is it the Braves?
I think it's gone more toward the Mets than the Braves. It used to be the Braves more, and I think now it's shifted a little bit more toward the Mets.
Uribe skies it to center. Yelich is there. Nicely done by Adam Conley. Lefties, both of them. Brad Hand, Adam Conley, sharp tonight. Marlins and Mets 1-0. Miami on top, bottom 5. Marlins Park. Jonathan NIESE, Danny Echeverria meeting up here in the bottom of the 5th. Email and Twitter Tuesday. Then around the ballpark with Jessica Blaylock and Craig Minervini. So it's been a busy night. And all 3 lefties have looked sharp. NIESE has pitched well. Echeverria walked back in the 3rd. He scored the only run of the ball game.
Now Jonathan NIESE has never thrown 200 innings, but 3 out of 5 years he's had 30 or more starts.
Frank wants to know if getting hit by a pitch raises your on-base percentage.
Yes, it does.
It has helped Derek Dietrichs. He's been hit again tonight. That one line foul.
Dave asking about rivalries. Why do you think the Marlins and the Rays don't have a big interstate rivalry? Mainly because they don't play each other enough. That's the way I would answer that.
Uribe scrambles to his feet. Catch and tag. No. Duda thought he got him. It'll probably be looked at. Although Duda returns the ball to the mound. We'll get our first look and see if maybe Echeverria got by the tag.
That was a little scramble by the veteran Juan Uribe. Once he gets up, he unloads quickly with something on it, but it pulls Duda off the bag. Can't tell if he got him there. I don't think he did. The way Duda reacted, he probably didn't.
Maybe a better look here.
Yeah, no, he's saying he got him. Let's see. No, he didn't.
Nope. He got error.
He tried to sell it to first base ump Bill Welke.
That used to work a lot better before replay. Conley drops it down. Edge got a good jump. NIESE has to go to first.
Both pitchers. Brad Hand back in the 3rd inning. Instrumental in the Marlins getting their 1 run. Dropped out a nice sacrifice bunt, and a nice bunt there by Adam Conley.
Marlins and Red Sox interleague action at Marlins Park. It starts on Tuesday. 2-game series. First 10,000 fans on Tuesday get an Ichiro t-shirt courtesy of Sato Pharmaceutical. Secure your seats today for the Red Sox series. 1-877 Marlins or go to marlins.com. D. Gordon now. It was Gordon against NIESE that banged one to the right side just over the glove of Wilmer Flores for an RBI single. That's the only run of the game. That was in the 3rd. Echeverria away from second. Gordon sends that one to center. Lagares goes back. Etch is tagging. And Echeverria will scamper on into 3rd. 2 outs for Cole Gillespie.
Last 2 ABs, nice swings from D. Gordon against the left-hander. Echeverria, by the way, reaching on the Uribe error. He's charged with an error on that throw.
Speaking of Ichiro, Brandon wants to know, since Ichiro's nearing 3,000 hits, do you think the Marlins will re-sign him next year, or will he finish his career in Seattle? That's a tough one. I'm not sure. Tommy talked about all the...
It's a good question. I think you kind of judge it by going around baseball and looking at 4th and 5th outfielders. There you make your comparison. Then you have to say, would the Marlins like to have Ichiro in a Marlins uniform if he does reach 3,000 hits?
He's going to be about, what, 80 hits shy?
Yeah, 70 or 80.
So the other question is, will he get enough at bats wherever he plays, whether it's here, Seattle, or any other major league team? Will he get enough at bats to get 75, 80 hits?
This year, so far, Ichiro's played in 100 games, 245 at bats and 59 base hits. So you look at it, I kind of look at it that way. It seems like he's played a lot more than we expected him to play Yet he has just 59 hits, and he'd need more than that next year.
Outside corner, NIESE catches the black, gets Gillespie, and leaves Echeverria at third base. 1-0 Miami.
A lot of discussion on Twitter about the best rivalries in Major League Baseball. I had a chance to talk to a couple of Marlins players about that earlier today. Here's what they had to say.
I know back when we were in Anaheim, the Dodgers series, that was kind of a fun freeway series to be a part of, and it always brought out some pretty good crowds. When I was in Milwaukee, we had a pretty good one with the Cardinals. And sometimes the ones that for whatever reason the two teams are kind of the driving force more so than the fan base. It's from a player standpoint, you feel it a little different.
Yankees and Red Sox. I was there when A-Rod and Veritek got into it, so it was a pretty good intense one.
And guys, no surprise here. The teams that are getting the most love on Twitter for having the best rivalry in Major League Baseball, obviously the Red Sox and the Yankees, the Dodgers and the Giants.
Jess and Tommy, you touched upon it. A lot of it depends on how the teams are playing over a period of years. Here's how you can interact with us at Fox Marlins, or email us, foxmarlins@gmail.com.
For a second, I wasn't sure if that was A-Rod and Veritek or Pedro and Don Zimmer.
I mean, for the Mets over the last 5-6 years, as they've struggled, have they had a bitter rival during that time?
No, you're right. You have to be playing well to create a rival.
Yeah, there you go. Now, back when he was a Met,
yeah, good to see Mike Piazza.
They had a rivalry with the Yankees.
Well, I'm surprised nobody's tweeted Mike Piazza, Roger Clemens.
Yeah. They had that rivalry with the Braves was alive and well. So, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with how good is the team. The Cubs-Cardinals rivalry is great. To me, it goes up a notch this year now that the Cubs are competitive.
Absolutely.
Giants-Dodgers is great. There was a while where the Giants weren't all that good. But over the last 10-12 years, it's been great. It hurts off that lead ankle. Here's a rivalry from Richard. How about Adeiny Echeverria and Andrelton Simmons?
Very good.
Richard wants to know, does Echeverria finally overtake Simmons for a Gold Glove?
I sure hope so. Sure hope so. We may not see Simmons in that series in Atlanta. He's got a sprained or a strained thumb and a diving attempt on a play.
Duda goes down. He doesn't like it. And he voices his opinion to Angel Hernandez. Well, if Simmons isn't there, we probably could pick from a variety of Braves shortstops. It's alumni weekend. That pitch was not a strike. It looked like it was down and certainly was out.
That'll be kind of fun to see some old-time Braves.
Which old-time Brave? And you don't want to say that while you're there, because there might be some Braves that just retired that take umbrage to that. Darno is thrown out, but
I got a name of
what Brave alumni or alumnus are you looking forward to seeing?
I'd like to see. Well, I might see my brother-in-law Dick Ruthven, but I'll leave him out. But how about Bob Horner?
I'd like to see Dale Murphy.
Ralph Garr.
I had a lot of Ralph Garr Slurpee cups as a kid. John Smoltz will be there. Hopefully we get a chance to visit with him.
We will see John.
Tom Clavin is usually in the booth as well.
Always good to see Chipper. We'll probably see Chipper. Just so he doesn't pinch hit.
Wilmer Flores, a couple of ground balls to Echeverria tonight. Conley misses away. How about this two-headed lefty starter tandem of Brad Hand and Adam Conley?
Well, you're seeing in Brad Hand, you saw a little rusty left-hander. Hadn't started since early June. Just been working out of the bullpen. In Conley, you're seeing much better command because he had started 18 starts in AAA. Worked a little bit, a couple of games out of the bullpen here, one start here. So you're seeing a less rusty Adam Conley, much better command. And a good changeup, by the way, too.
Flores swings and misses. And it's 3-2. Now, Conley just made a start on the 28th of July. That was his last start in New Orleans. 19 starts this year, was 9-3 and a 2.52 ERA. So even though Justin Nicolino and Jose Urena may have gotten a little more pub, Adam Conley had better numbers in his year in New Orleans at AAA.
Second round pick, 2011. He's worked his way up the minor league chain. A couple of years ago, 11-7 for Jacksonville in AA.
To left, well hit. Dietrich going back at the track, and he won't get there. It bounces off the wall, and so does Dietrich. He'll pick it up. Holding second is Flores. And that is a double.
I think if Derek Dietrich rethought that, he might have done that just to kind of slow himself up, but certainly wasn't going to make the catch. Thankfully, just a two-base hit. But you know what you're always going to get from Derek Dietrich? A hard effort.
Ruben Tejada, who is 1 for 2. This is the second inning for Adam Conley.
He's one of those guys, Rich, Ruben Tejada, against the Marlins, a .318 career average. Against everybody else, not even .250.
A 1. Well, he started with a nice changeup at 81 and then 89 on the outside part.
I think the other difference as Carlos Torres gets loose, the other difference in the two lefties, Brad Hand has a little more life on his fastball. You see 94, 95. You don't see that from Conley, but you see command and really good changeup.
Soft into right field, round third, runner coming home. Up with the ball, Gillespie, throw to the plate. He is safe. Game is tied. Flores scores. Realmuto had to climb up the line just enough to allow Flores to get by him.
Boy, a great effort on both parts. You see Flores with the hand just crossing the plate on that throw. Tejada moves on to second base. Throw just a little bit offline. Here's a small area. We haven't talked about it a whole lot, Rich. And this is nothing to take away from Cole Gillespie. Giancarlo Stanton has a stronger arm from right field. And the ball club has missed that on a few occasions.
Now NIESE. So 1-1 now. A Met run here in the 6th.
And 3/4 of this crowd are Met fans. You can tell on that base hit.
Here's the throw again.
Good effort on the other end, too, by JT Realmuto.
Towards the line, Dietrich, and it's into the seats.
The on-deck hitter is always responsible to help that runner. Look at NIESE. Tell him to get over, get out of the way of this tag, but make sure you touch the plate. So a good job by a pitcher. You see a lot of hitters fail in that job and not get there to let the runner know what to do. Good job by Jonathan NIESE.
The other thing about that play, as you watched Realmuto, Tommy, it looked like he had to take a step out of the line into the diamond to make sure he caught that ball on the fly and didn't have to short hop pick it and then swipe the tag.
There he is, stepping up the line to get it and just can't reach back.
It's a great slide by Flores, too. 3-2 coming to NIESE. He fouls it at the plate. NIESE single back in the 2nd. 2-out double by Wilmer Flores. Ruben Tejada chases him home with a base hit to right. Mets and Marlins even right now. A run apiece. Echeverria on to first in time. Mets get a run. This game is even. 1-1.
winner, once again, of the Fox Sports Florida Broadcaster Experience. Let's take a selfie here. Is our pal, the Marlins man. A tip of the cap to Lawrence Levy with his group here. The Marlins I call them the Marlins Maniacs behind that.
There we have for Miami Marlins. That's what it stands for. They'll do it everywhere around the country.
By the way, the cheesecake, very good here in the suite tonight.
Look at that, how great that is. That's the dessert bar they bring out. It's awesome.
Now, how much fun you've had this year?
How much
baseball?
I had an amazing amount of time. I've been to probably 21 cities. I go to a lot of games, and I mean these great Americans everywhere representing the Marlins. It's a wonderful experience.
You're everywhere. Some people wonder, what do you do? You're out in L.A. You've caught 2 rainouts, by the way, this year too.
Yeah, I haven't had a rainout in my entire life in 40 years, and one was last night in Pittsburgh. Lots of lightning. The other one was in Anaheim.
And you've been also bringing, though, a lot of people who haven't been able to get to games or sit in the seats that you get all over the country.
Yeah, that started for the first time this year, and it'll only be this year. I used to bring whoever I was dating with me, but this year I had nobody I was dating, so I would go to a stadium and I would initially bring 1 or 2 people. And it was so much fun, I just would buy dozens of tickets and bring strangers I never met. And now it's kind of like the Marlins entourage or something everywhere.
Absolutely. You interviewed Dan Jennings today and Carl Pavano. What'd you ask Dan? Anything interesting in the interviews that came out?
I asked him if he's having fun right now. He's looking forward to being in the front office next year.
A 12-1 game, you ask him.
Yeah, actually after a bad game.
What about Pav, who's sitting over here, by the way, enjoying the carrot cake?
Yeah, he's a great guy. I remember when he was in the World Series and he pitched 2 games and then the Yankees, and he also likes cars like me. And I showed him pictures of the Marlins mobile, which unfortunately is not upstairs.
What's your favorite dessert? Because you have so many options here. Let's take a look at the well, I don't mean I'm talking about over here.
Yes, probably the chocolate chip cookie. I like the best.
All right, take a look at the red velvet cake. I think that was Rich. Rich was voting for the red velvet cake. Am I right, Rich?
Yes.
And Tommy, I'm not sure what he was going for.
I'll go for the.
Would you believe the apple Bavarian tart?
Yeah,
Tommy?
that looks good. I'll go with the apple Bavarian tart.
All right, and
awesome. I've had that a couple of times, and that's very unique. I've never had a root beer cake before.
Carl is crushing the carrot cake, by the way. All right, well, thanks for coming out, and most importantly, thank you for your big donation this year at the Fox Sports Florida
Foundation. It's a great thing. Everybody, one more time. Ready?
Back to you guys. I'll go for the cheesecake.
See, I think that's trending right now on Twitter. #Rivals Craig versus the cheesecake. Casey McGee at the plate. The red velvet cake has made an appearance a couple nights in a row. Christian Yelich a strikeout to open up the 6th. Jonathan NIESE in a 1-1 game. McGee 1 hopper. Wilmer Flores has it. Gets the out.
Well, that ball was hit hard by Casey. Flores maintains his balance after making the play, and then all of a sudden realizes, you know what, I'm not at short. I'm at second. I have time, and I don't have to make a long throw.
Martin Prado now. Prado was struck out and single.
Got a lot of Dolphins Jets for a rivalry. Bruins and Canadians. Had a few of those earlier.
Prado a high fly. Long run for Cespedes. He glides in and makes a catch. Jonathan NIESE cruises through the 6th. This game goes to the 7th. It's 1-1. Mets lead that series. Jets and Dolphins. Regular season Jets lead. Dolphins have won the only postseason meeting. Used to be Knicks and Heat, didn't it? Knicks lead that 59-49. The postseason Knicks have a 15-14 lead. Or excuse me, the Heat have a 15-14 lead. The Knicks have won 3 of 5 series. But I don't think for the Heat anymore the Knicks are that big a rivalry, right? Just it goes along with what we said. Both teams have to be good. Cleveland is a big
Cleveland
rival.
stepped in now. Yeah.
Juan Lagares is up. And Lagares fouls it off. 7th inning arrives. Adam Conley out there.
We talked about Jonathan NIESE as Brian Morris gets loose. How he has not gotten a lot of support. And he finds himself in a 1-1 ball game.
Liner to center. Yelich dives and got it. That is not an easy play. It's a bullet right at you. And if it gets by him, it's 3 bases at least.
This is one of those balls that also has that knuckling hooking effect. This is not straight. This is not easy. Watch how it comes back. Yelich stays with it and makes a terrific grab. This is not an easy play. Nicely done by Christian Yelich, who also made a nice play going back near the wall. Made a couple of good ones tonight.
So Lagares is out. Granderson is up. Granderson has struck out 3 times. Mets got a single run in the 6th. Marlins a single run in the 3rd. Granderson has seen lefties all night. So 3 strikeouts for Granderson. Pitch misses out. Four innings from Brad Hand. 3rd inning of work for Adam Conley. And he walked him. The only contact that Granderson has made was on a foul ball with a camera.
Oh, right there on the camera.
Nice dent. Look at that. Do we have insurance on that? Oh, it's the Mets show. Never mind. How much does one of those cameras cost? $150,000 for the lens. So the lens costs $150,000? Wow. Dan Jennings is coming out. He's going to make a pitching change here. Cespedes is up. You see that the Marlins make a double switch. Brian Morris, one last drink of water, heads in. Conley is due up 4th. In the bottom of the inning, his spot will be Kendall Toyota called to the pen. Justin Bohr in this double switch is coming in. He'll be at first. Our T-Mobile winner. Data Strong fan of the game. Nelly. Very nice. He's still dancing. How did he just
last inning? It's the last inning.
Just has to get to the 7th.
All right, just keep it going.
Strike to Cespedes. As Brian Morris comes in to face Cespedes. 1-1 game. Mets with a runner at first. That's Granderson. At stake for the Mets. They're in first place by a game over the Nationals. 6 games over at 56-50. The Mets have won 7 of their last 9. The Nationals, they're tied with Arizona 3-3 in the bottom of the 4th in D.C. So Arizona's been able to get to Max Scherzer for 3 runs.
They had a 3-0 lead.
Mets, of course, sweeping the Nationals. And then arriving here and blistering Miami 12-1 last night. Cespedes in left field tonight. He was in center last night.
Cespedes is one of those guys this year anyway has actually hit right-handers better than left-handers.
Big rip by Cespedes. Counts full 3-2.
See if Brian Morris feels good about his slider.
Three doubles last night, a single tonight. Runner goes. No camera damage on that one. Cubs are in Pittsburgh, and they are shutting out the Pirates in the bottom of the 6th, 5-0.
And it's not raining.
Jake Arrieta is throwing a one-hitter. Nice backhand pick. Prado crossed the diamond in time. It's a big league play. Prado made it look easy. After the Marlins go to Atlanta, they are home for 2 with the Red Sox Tuesday and Wednesday. Arrive early onto the Marlins Franchise 4 pregame. First 10,000 fans get a Marlins Franchise 4 poster courtesy of the star-studded cash and 1-2-3 lump sum. Secure your seats today. Go to marlins.com.
After that play, it reminded me of a tweet we had earlier about why not put Prado in left. He's played there a lot, and Dietrich at third base. Prado a better defender at third base than Derek Dietrich. Plain and simple. So that's why.
Uribe has a great game face, doesn't he? He has the grizzled veteran look,
which he is.
That one's foul. Prado is on it.
Speaking of grizzled veterans, how about Adrian Beltre last night for the Texas Rangers? Hit for the cycle for the 3rd time in his career. He actually did it last night in the first 5 innings.
And yet the Marlins have gone throughout their existence without a cycle. 23rd season of Marlins baseball. Got him. Struck him out. Uribe rung up. Morris strikes him out. Granderson stranded in scoring position. And the 7th inning stretch hits in Miami. This game is 1 apiece, and that is on the black.
Yeah, guys, you have mentioned some of those rivalries that we've seen on Twitter, not just in Major League Baseball, but in sports in general. There's a ton of them that have come in as far as the NFL. We've seen things like Steelers and the Ravens, and then in college football, Tommy, you mentioned Army-Navy. A lot of love, though, for Alabama-Auburn. You know that Dan Jennings would certainly appreciate that one, being a Bama guy himself. Also, Ohio State-Michigan. But this one is the most interesting to me. How about a cricket rivalry, Australia versus England?
Derek Dietrich into right field. A base hit. And a good start for Miami in the bottom of the 7th against John NIESE. Cricket, I got no clue.
Yeah, not familiar with that one. But a good start. I am familiar with that. Good start for the Marlins with that Derek Dietrich base hit.
NIESE throws a strike to JT Realmuto. Jonathan NIESE has been really good tonight. Mets bullpen is active. Bobby Parnell, first time he's been up. Carlos Torres has been up. Mike Dunn in Miami's pen. Marlins have pieced it together with 4 innings of Brad Hand. 2 1/3 with Adam Conley. And a couple outs from Brian Morris. Lagares runs that one down in center. You can see NIESE at 95 pitches.
We had a tweet. I don't know if I should get into this one. I could go off a little bit on this one. But it's from Yankee fan, 07. You're talking about other stuff non-related to the Marlins. I disagree with that because I think we have covered a lot of situations with the Marlins, good and bad. Non-related to the Marlins because they, I'm not going to say what he says, meaning they're not good.
To right, Granderson is there and he makes the catch.
First of all, our job is to broadcast a baseball game and to give you as much information as we can. If you want to hear about the other stuff, listen to talk radio. There.
That one got right by me. Now, what was he complaining about?
That we're talking about other stuff non-related to the Marlins. Don't think that's true. I think we've talked a lot about the Marlins and the Mets because they, term used, blank, are not good. Listen to talk radio then.
There's Justin Bohr on the double switch. Bohr came in.
Listen to Michael Kay and John Sterling then. All right.
You got him going. Tommy gave himself the. Oh, I can't say that. Tommy got the blood pressure up. There you go. That's usually a traditional.
But
occurrence.
It's not our job to sit up here and just criticize. It's our job to kind of cover everything, have a little fun when we can.
Bohr pops it out of reach over the Marlins dugout.
And you and I have talked about this a lot, Rich. In some areas, St. Louis, San Francisco, whole different ball game with broadcasters. They've had perennially good teams. They have huge fan bases, which the Marlins don't. They have a bunch of Met fans here tonight. So that's why we talk about other stuff. But we do talk about the Marlins.
Bohr swings and misses. Jonathan NIESE gets out of the seventh. Tell you what, Jonathan NIESE is pitching well right now for the Mets in a 1-1 game. Tommy's fired up. Lefties on the menu. H.H. Gregg, high def highlights. Marlins on the board. Dean Gordon off the glove of Wilmer Flores. And Miami has a 1-0 lead. Sixth inning. Adam Conley, second lefty over the ropes for the Fish. Gillespie. Wilmer Flores with a great slide to get around the tag of JT Realmuto. And the Mets had their run. And an autograph ball and bat to that gentleman who has been dancing for 7 innings.
Safe to say he'll not be going out dancing tonight.
He's got an autograph bat, autograph ball. Danny Echeverria doing the autographing for that. Mike Dunn now. Dunn gets Lucas Duda, Travis d'Arnaud, Wilmer Flores in the 8th. Duda single back in the 3rd.
Interesting shift in the infield with Duda the hitter. Echeverria, and now it'll be Prado going over. Now he'll kind of fill that gap. Or maybe not. Yet D. Gordon is way over. And there's a huge gap on the right side. D's going to shift over a little bit now. Just a little different alignment than we've seen before.
Yeah, Prado thought with the 1 strike that he was going to slide on over into that spot to the first base side of second.
A couple of things to think about. I think it's against the left-hander, and maybe the scouting report tells you occasionally against the lefty, Duda might drop down a bunt. A guy as hot as he's been, I'd be surprised if he did that, though.
Harry Hill, the defensive coordinator for the Marlins, directing his infield. The Marlins have used 4 pitchers, 3 of them left-handed. Hand for 4, Conley for 2 and 2/3. Liner to right, well hit. Gillespie back, won't get it. Off the wall, on a hop, plays it well, and he'll hold him to a single.
Played extremely well by Cole Gillespie. As soon as that ball got over his head, you're thinking double. Lucas Duda was thinking double. Gillespie tracks it, realizes he can't get it, and then backs off a little bit. And that's just a perfect play and a perfect throw back into second base.
Now d'Arnaud. Mighty rip and a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. That Nationals-Arizona game, 3-3 top 5. The Mets a 1-game lead over the Nationals to start play in the East. Early in August. There's your Echeverria bat and ball. Breaking ball, ground ball, and into left field. Now the Mets are in business against Mike Dunn here. Runners first and second.
Echeverria's gotten to a lot of balls this year, just couldn't quite get that one. You have to keep reminding yourself, NIESE in that number 8 spot, which he'll be pinch hit for, I'm sure. And let's not forget, Rich, because we didn't see him last night, the Mets now have Tyler Clippard,
which has been like kryptonite to the Marlins over the last 4 or 5 years when he was a National. Wheel plays on. Bunt's popped up. Real Muto's got it. Nice out to get for Mike Dunn.
Go hard with that high fastball. It's exactly what Mike Dunn did to get Flores to pop it up. communication, too. Everybody letting JT Real Muto know.
Now Tejada, who has swung a hot bat tonight and against the Marlins this year. Seems like Flores and Tejada both have had nice seasons against the Fish.
Yeah, they have.
Tejada's got 8 runs driven in against the Marlins this year.
Eric Campbell moving into the on-deck circle.
RBI single to right, scored Flores back in the 6th. Dunn's 0-1. A lot of different heroes for the Mets over the last 9 ball games. The Mets have won 7 of their last 9. Dunn looking for a ground ball here. He's out in front 1-2. 2 months left before the season ends and the postseason begins. This year the season stretches, the regular season stretches into October. And remember, on October 4th, which is a Sunday, every game in Major League Baseball will start at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. Who do the Mets have on that Sunday? Washington Nationals. It's a 3-game series, Nationals and Mets.
Yeah, could be very interesting. Where is that series? In New York?
Yes. Terry Collins trying to get the Mets to their first postseason since 2006. One, 2. It's down. Duda at second, Darno at first. That one lined out of play.
A lot of pitchers, Rich, who changed teams, making good debuts. Matt Latos had a good 6 innings with the Dodgers. Of course, David Price, Mike Leake threw the ball well for the Giants. Alex Wood tonight, left-hander, used to be with Atlanta, with the Dodgers now. 6 1/3, 8 hits, 1 run so far in his game against Philadelphia.
Two to Tejada.
And tomorrow in Pittsburgh, it'll be a Dan Herron start. The Cubs against the Pirates.
Clippard is all heated up and ready to go for the bottom of the 8th. start him with the fastball. So Dunn comes back and gets 2 outs. And now Campbell, the pinch hitter. Tomorrow's starters, brought to you by Chevron. The Dark Knight rises in Miami. Matt Harvey, David Phelps goes for the Fish. We start it with Marlins live at 6:30. Campbell fouls it back to the screen. Campbell, the Boston College product. Had a big pinch hit single to win a game at Washington. Two for his last 2 as a pinch hitter. And he lines that one into left. Over the head of Echeverria. And the Mets take the lead. And another big pinch hit for Eric Campbell.
You talked about it, Rich. The Mets have been able to, on this nice run that they're on, get contributions from a lot of different players. Campbell now 3 for 10 as a pinch hitter, and a big one there to put his club ahead. Ball got in on him a little bit. He didn't hit it all that hard. Just got it over the head of Echeverria.
So Campbell delivers. Darno got as far as second. And the Mets have done it with 3 singles here in the 8th. Juan Lagares. Ball in the dirt, and it kicks away from Real Muto. Everybody moves up.
Breaking ball skips away. You know, you have first base open, but you have a guy up there, Lagares, who's hit below 200 his last 30 games. Got the left-hander on deck in Granderson.
Ball and a strike. Check swing and no swing.
The other thing about putting a guy on, it would load the bases, and that just puts more pressure on the pitcher, and you have to have somebody out there you feel real confident in throwing lots of strikes.
Right center field, that ball's well hit, and Lagares knocks it in the gap. In comes Darno. Campbell scores, and the Mets have a big inning here in the 8th. When you are a hot ball club, it doesn't matter where you are in the lineup.
Well, we told you the last 30 games coming into tonight for Lagares, he's hit 190. His playing time's diminished with Cespedes around. But all of a sudden, the Mets getting huge hits here in the 8th from Campbell and Lagares.
0-1 to Granderson. Campbell untied the game. Lagares cleaned up with 2 more. Brian Ellington in Miami's bullpen. Yeah, every night it seems like a different hero.
And that's what happens when you see clubs put together nice runs. And that's what it takes.
One, two. So the Marlins are going to see Tyler Clippard in a whole new light, in a whole new uniform. In Washington, remember the Mets have a 1-game lead over the Nationals. 3-3, top 6.
All 4 Mets runs tonight, Rich, scored with 2 out as well.
The 2-2. Liner, that's fair. And that scores Lagares. Granderson, a double. And the Mets hang a big 4-spot up in the 8th inning. It's 5-1.
And they also put a big dent into the earned run average of Mike Dunn.
Cespedes up. Real Muto's going out to buy time for Ellington. A few more warm-up tosses. And it looks like the Marlins are going to go to their bullpen. Here comes Dan Jennings, and he'll make a double switch. 5-1. Mets have rallied to take the lead. Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. Ends up in left field. Cole Gillespie slides over to center. Ichiro is in right, and Derek Dietrich ends up at first. And the Marlins go to their bullpen yet again. Brian Ellington, kid from Gainesville.
Now we saw Ellington make his major league debut last night. Throw hard. Fastball was 96, 97, and threw one of the best breaking balls you're ever going to see to strike out Lucas Duda.
He gets to face Cespedes in a tough spot. The Mets have just put 4 runs up, have a 5-1 lead, and the Mets Express is starting to roll again. Outside corner, it's 1-1. It was a tight ball game. Now last night was one-sided all night. The Marlins had a 1-0 lead, carried that into the 6th.
I think you see too, Rich, with the absence of Carter Capps, how things change in that bullpen. You don't have a Capps down there. You've got inexperience in a Rienzo and an Ellington. So you try to stretch others a little longer. So Mike Dunn was trying to stretch a little longer, and it didn't work out.
Cespedes, liner left. Yelich is there, and he makes the catch. Damage is done. 4 in the score. 5-1 Mets. Get 2 for $5. Checkers, it's in the bag. Well, Miami tonight, Marlins, Mets, and the Mets showing why they're hot. Down 1-0, they tied it. 4 runs in the 8th, and a 5-1 Mets lead. And the Mets get their secret weapon out of the pen, a guy that has just hammered the Marlins. And there's other teams in the National League East that also fear the name Tyler Clippard, with good reason. He had such an incredible run setting up in the Nationals bullpen. Of course, now as the Mets have caught and passed the Nationals, Clippard is wearing blue. And that probably doesn't make a lot of national fans real happy.
Yeah, this was one of those, not a headline grabber, the Mets acquiring Clippard, but he had good numbers in Oakland. Opponents were hitting 175 against him.
Gordon reaches out and pulls it to Lucas Duda, who steps on the bag.
He had 38 strikeouts in his 38 innings.
Gillespie and Yelich coming up. Our Toyota Trend tonight. Most teams since 2011. That can't be right. Kelly Johnson has been on 11 teams.
I had him on 8, but you never know.
He may have gone through waivers a few times. And it is 8. We apologize.
8 teams for Kelly. That's still a lot.
I was thinking the major league records, was it 13? 12 or 13? Gillespie fouls it. We'll put our baseball story in on that. Octavio Dotel, 13.
13 teams.
Thank you. It is 8. Kelly Johnson's been on 8. And as we noted last night, in the course of 1 year, calendar-wise, he played on every team in the American League East.
Yeah, and just last year alone, last season, he was with the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Orioles. But in the calendar year, also
Blue Jays and Rays.
Rays and Blue Jays, yeah.
0-2. And Clippard misses in.
So when you have a veteran like that, you refer to him as the well-traveled Kelly Johnson.
Sure. But all of us in this business are well-traveled. Literally. Up and in. Clippard has that great changeup. Count 3-2. You think about the starting pitching that the Mets have received already in this series. Gillespie lines it into the seats. Last night Bartolo Colon went 8, gave up just 1 run. Souvenir and a kiss, nicely done. Tonight Jonathan NIESE, 7 innings, 1 run. An area pitch has been thrown by the Degrominator, Thor, or the Dark Knight. Popped up first base side. Duda is there and he makes the catch. Tyler Clippard looks like the same old Tyler Clippard the Marlins have feared for the last 4 or 5 years. Here comes Yelich. Giants have pulled ahead of Atlanta 6-3 in Atlanta. That Nationals game is still 3-3, bottom 6. Hunter Pence, 3-run homer. He's driven in 4.
Giants have been in an interesting run. They've been scoring runs, but they've been allowing a lot of runs. Braves with a huge 9-8 walk-off win last night. Adonis Garcia with a 2-run walk-off home run last night for the Braves.
Aptly named. Yelich lines a foul. Email from Roger at Sunrise. The telecast showed Tulowitzki's stats with both leagues combined, and yet Cespedes' batting average pops up only as a Met. Kindly explain. I've always felt in baseball, it drives me nuts when a guy like Cespedes changes leagues and they will only list his National League stats. Line into center field,
especially now with interleague play all the time.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, that drives me nuts too, Roger. I'd rather see what the guy's done the whole season.
So there are things that drive us nuts too once in a while.
Checkers brings you Marlins Live after the game. Greg Minervini, Jeff Conine still in their trailer. It takes a while to get that hair just perfect. Ichiro now.
Craig trying to wipe the cake off his face.
Cheesecake.
Cheesecake.
Ichiro's first at bat of the night. One home run for Ichiro this year, and it came at the Mets' expense in this ballpark. Lines that to right. That's a base hit. Yelich will stop at second. Ichiro a single to right. And that brings up PRADO.
Clipper doesn't hang too many. Got that one up in the strike zone. And for Ichiro, we were talking about this earlier, hit number 60 on the year.
2,904 in his career.
See, Ichiro wasn't around for the years of the Clippard mystique. For him, he was just facing another right-hander
who hung a changeup.
Yeah.
PRADO goes after the first pitch, pops it to shallow right. Flores is there, and he makes the catch. And the Marlins lead 2. 8 in the books. Mets 5-1. Live streaming sports service celebrates 13 years out of market regular season games. Get them live or on demand, and it's in true HD. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, and the pitch tracking widget, which is taking the baseball world by storm. Ask Eric Burns about that. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Tell you, Hut, that was fun to watch.
Now, you have to explain. There could be people out there saying, who is Eric Burns?
Eric Burns, former major leaguer, works for MLB Network, has been a proponent of using the Fox Track technology to call balls and strikes in a game, and there was a minor league game in Northern California. Burns, if you don't know, and he lets everyone know, he's from Northern California, as I am as well. Proud of that.
Isn't he from the Half Moon Bay area?
He probably surfed out there.
I think he surfed there, yes.
Anyways, at a minor league game, Eric Burns was there and called balls and strikes using that Fox Tracks technology. They set it up. He actually sat with a big screen behind up in the press box with a microphone.
So there was no home plate umpire?
No, there was a home plate umpire because the home plate umpire has to call swing or no swing, check swing, foul tip, no tip, or any play at the plate. So the home plate umpire still has duties. But if it was a pitch that wasn't attempted to swing at, the batter didn't swing at it, Burns would call it over the microphone.
What about a check swing?
Well, that's the umpire. If it's not a strike, I mean, if it's in the strike zone, it doesn't matter. Juan Uribe with a mighty swing and a miss. I'd like to see them do that a few more times in the minor leagues, just to see how it works. Jury's familiar. Maybe in the Arizona Fall League as well.
And that's exactly where they can keep it.
The old school rising up there. Uribe strikes out.
Hey, some good pitches by Brian Ellington. He's come on, got a big out in the 8th. And some good pitches to put away Uribe.
We talked about his story last night. Growing up in Gainesville, he had a scholarship to Florida State, then had elbow issues, Tommy John surgery, banged around a couple of junior colleges. Fastball. Lucas Duda with a mean rip. Marlins drafted him in the 16th round in 2012. Lucas Duda to right. That would be Ichiro.
Nice changeup. It's a great example of when you can throw 97. That changeup doesn't always have to be perfect. Doesn't have to be down. It was just enough to get Duda out in front a little bit, hit it off the end of the bat.
Here is d'Arnaud. Of course, the Mets just brought in reinforcements. They're hopeful to get a few more in the month of August. Michael Kadire trying to come off the disabled list, and you know, who knows with David Wright.
I think there are those who feel he will play. He's going to start a rehab assignment soon. And they also will be getting a young left-hander, Steven Matz. Be getting him back.
Dietrich over there at first handles it easily. Nice inning by Brian Ellington. 5-1 Mets. by Kubota. For more information, to find a participating dealer, go to FloridaKubotaDealers.com. High above downtown Miami, the Mets are flying high right now. Winners of 7 of 9, trying to make it 8 of 10. Marlins are down 4 and down to their last 3 outs. Jeurys Familia.
Not a save situation for the saves leader on the Mets. Last time for Familia was Saturday, so Terry Collins getting him an inning. See the opponents hitting just 195 against Familia. I like the tweet from Anthony. I got to get back at you from Anthony. Just says, why don't we have robotic players too? Terrible idea.
All opinions are welcome. I'm not saying I want it in the major leagues. I'm just saying I'd like to see them work through it in the minor leagues. See how it works.
Well, yeah, but if they think it works well, then it'll be here.
Familia misses down low. Derek Dietrich, JT Real Muto, and Danny Echeverria.
Dietrich, in his short time here, has been hit 7 times. He was hit 15 times in New Orleans before his call-up.
Dietrich into center field. And a nice night for him. 2 for 3. And he opens the 9th with a hit. For Jeurys Familia, remember, he had the meltdown figuratively and literally in the rain against the Padres. That long rain delay after he got the first 2 outs. Justin Upton drilled a 3-run homer after the game was resumed.
Yeah,
Padres got a couple 2-out hits before that blow.
That was the last time he worked, yeah.
The Marlins need base runners. Real Muto an 0 for 3. Familia misses in.
Even though last time up for JT, a line drive out to center field.
Another quality start for the Mets tonight. Jonathan NIESE, 7 innings, 1 run, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. Muto pulls it foul. Last night it was Cologne, 8 innings. Tomorrow night Matt Harvey pitches for New York.
Yeah, doesn't get any easier facing Harvey. The Marlins have had a little success though against Matt Harvey. He's just 1-2 with an ERA over 4 in his 6 career starts.
Tomorrow night, 6:30 for Marlins Live. David Phelps gets the ball for the Fish. One and 2. Brad Hand started and pitched well for Miami. 4 innings, 5 hits, did not give up a run. Adam Conley a run in 2/3. They were in 2 1/3 innings. Brian Morris got a couple of outs. Mike Dunn gave up 4 runs in 2/3 of an inning. Familia bounces that one. Real Muto sees the count go even at 2 and 2.
So the look with D. Gordon, if you're Dietrich though, you can't take chances. If you don't go right away with the score 5-1, then you just stay put.
That one goes all the way to the screen, and now Dietrich advances to second. And Familia doesn't look all too sharp right now.
That's the one luxury with Tyler Clippard around. They did use Clipper. Derek Collins used him in a save situation. So if Familia has struggles, he can always fall back on Clipper.
Not tonight.
Yeah, not tonight.
Let's see what 3-2 brings. That hit him. So Real Muto is hit on what would have been ball 4 anyways.
Boy, this fastball just gets away, clips his jersey, and he's getting a visit from Dan Worthen, his pitching coach.
So Worthen trying to settle him down. And Andy Echeverria is the hitter. And then you've got the pitcher spot due up again in that 9 spot. Miguel Rojas has pulled in on deck. Marlins have already used Justin Bour. Ichiro has come into the game. Casey McGee is out of the game. An 0 for 2 for Echeverria. Bouncer up the middle. Looks like 2. Tejada's turn is in time. And Jury's Familia needs 1 pitch to get 2 outs and close in on win number 57 for the Mets.
Pretty routine on that 4-6-3.
Well, it's Rojas trying to keep this night alive with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. And Familia below a 99. That fastball.
The other fallback guy that Terry Collins has in that bullpen is Bobby Parnell.
He's ready. Just in case. Got D. Gordon on deck. Two and 1. Runs an issue for Miami. Scoring them. Dropped 8 of their last 10 and scored just 22 runs in those 10 games. 1 run tonight. Bartolo Colon was tough. Seemingly everybody's been tough to face. Rojas. Count even now at 2 and 2. Two and 2. That's in.
No problem with Familia's velocity.
No. Ball's jumping out of his hand. He's topped out at 99. Three-two from Familia. Nationals and Diamondbacks still 3-3, bottom 8. That was a Max Scherzer start. He would go 6 innings, give up 3 runs. Another 3-2 coming. Got him. Breaking ball. Rojas strikes out. And the Mets Express continues to roll. 57-50. The Mets have won 8 of 10. They've taken the first 2 of this 3-game set here in Miami. And one of the big hits in this one, in a 2-1 game, Juan Lagares busted it open, driving this one to right center. 2-run triple. The Mets would score 4 that inning, and they win it. 12 hits to go with their 5 runs. The Marlins just a run on 7 hits. Jonathan NIESE continues to pitch well. He's now 6-9. Mike Dunn the loss. He is 1-5. Last night a blowout. Tonight a tight game until the Mets take control. Tyler Clippard, Jury's Familia finish it for the Metropolitans. Mets win it. Marlins Live is next.